Have I told you guys the rhinoceros story and how this happened? See, what happened was, hey guys, Brandon Rahe here. Welcome to an episode of the Go Headquarters podcast. Flying solo again today. We've obviously been out of the loop for a little while here on the podcasts. The time investment it takes to get these things done is a little lofty and we all get a little busy. So I'm sorry for the gap in time. Hopefully you like the new intro that you saw there. That was filmed quite a while ago. We haven't used it once since. So apologize for the delay, but it looks great, we think. Hope you like it. Today we are coming at you with a very valid topic for what we deal with every day here, and that is, what does it mean to be coachable and why should you care? So being coachable obviously pertains very much to our everyday grind here at Go Headquarters in fitness, but also in life. So we're going to talk about it today in a fitness capacity, but you could definitely take these lessons and apply it to your job, to your relationships, your home life, any pursuits that you have. So what is being coachable? Well, first and foremost, I think it's an attitude. It's just a state of mind that allows you to take in new information and apply it to whatever it is you're working on at that moment. It's a skill that can be developed and improved upon. So I don't think we're either born with it or not born with it. I think it's something that we develop over time, or we maybe have never developed it and we've always resisted it as a skill. So that's going to be the take-home message today, is for you to try to improve on your coachability. Something that being coachable is not, I would say, would be the opposite state of mind, which is where you maybe perceive that you're a pushover or being weak when someone's trying to give you their insight or constructive feedback or criticisms. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It doesn't mean you don't have your own opinion. So we've got to get rid of some of those maybe taboo mentalities of being coachable so that we can open up and shed some light on the positive side of this. I know some alpha types for men and women that they don't take criticisms well, because I think they think that it pushes them down and that they're submitting in some capacity, and that couldn't be further from the truth. When you take in new information and apply it in a coachable sense, it opens up and broadens your horizons and makes you better at whatever it is you're doing. So very important state of mind. Some common behaviors of someone that is not coachable, and we do see this in here all the time, in different environments, particularly learning new skills or things where someone is being challenged if they're approaching a weight that they maybe haven't lifted before, or we're asking them to, I don't know, get a little extra range of motion or get in a position that's a little more uncomfortable, and immediately we are, they respond with things like, I can't, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, or I can't because of, and we get this list of excuses, right? So these are all going to kind of sound just like mentalities, because that's all being coachable really is. It's a state of mind. So some behaviors that are on the not coachable side are going to be someone always thinking that they're right, not willing to learn new things or try new things. They just want to kind of do the same old and stay in their little comfort zone, in their bubble. Not open to change. Maybe they've had a successful method, a somewhat successful method for a long time, and they don't want to try another method, an alternative method that maybe yields 1% better success. And they're unwilling to go through the motions to allow for that change. Negativity, of course, pessimism, inability to self-reflect. So take this scenario and kind of step outside of it and look in and see what the problem is, what the limiting factors are. That's definitely a skill that can be developed as well. And then generally unwilling to do what it takes to improve. So again, just stepping outside that comfort zone. And this is all mental stuff. This isn't physical at all. The physical side of this is just a follow through, right? That's a byproduct of the mentality that we have when we're coachable and we're trying to improve. So self-improvement isn't easy, but it can be done and can be improved upon. So those are some of the behaviors of not being coachable. Conversely, we've got behaviors, common trends of someone that is coachable, and that's going to be paying attention to detail. So often as I'm coaching, and the other coaches can vouch for this, we're going to catch some athletes that just aren't paying attention, and they have all these questions after the instructions are given. Oh wait, what are we doing? How many? What's the thing? And then there are just mistakes left and right, and we've got to repeat that information to that person. Well, that's not being coachable, right? They're doing the opposite of that. They're making it harder for the coach to deal with that student or athlete. So paying attention to the details, right? And getting all those things right and applying those instructions and details. Learning from others. This is very broad, but someone else that's lived another life has their own set of knowledge and skills and abilities and experience. And that's probably what they're coaching you on and from. Knowledge of exercise science and physiology and anatomy of the body and what it takes to do a certain move. So learn from that. Like, we're usually cueing you for a reason. So we're not just wanting to hear ourselves talk on keeping your knees out or your chest up or what stretches to do on the off days to improve your mobility. Like, we're saying those things and doing those things for a reason. So you've got to be willing to learn from that experience. You're open and receptive to those ideas and maybe things you haven't thought of yet. The can-do attitude, which is huge. Anything you approach is just like, yeah, okay, I got this kind of thing. It's that anything seems possible kind of scenario that we're like, hey, look, we're going to ask you to do 500-meter row and beat your record time. Here's how I want you to do it. And instead of thinking like, oh no, man, I can't do it. I'm not there. And your mind goes negative. It's more like, yeah, okay, I got this, I can do that, or I can do a backflip, or I can do these things. Even though fear and doubt are coming at you like a freight train, you've got to just spin that the other way and have that can-do attitude. So those are some of the common trends in being coachable. Again, that's all just state of mind stuff, so this is all between the ears. And then I guess one major thing I want to get across, and I'm not sure this fits in a category, is if you aren't coachable, you're probably going to experience that in whatever pursuit you have, whether it's a sport, a job, a relationship, if you aren't like coachable in a sense, you're going to be faced with difficulty probably right out of the gate, and things are going to remain really difficult, and you're probably going to get bored really fast. So if things are difficult, if times are hard, and you're bored, and you're maybe not seeing progress because you aren't coachable, that means you're probably not seeing improvements or results. And what is that going to lead to? It's going to lead to burnout, you're not having any fun, and you're probably going to end up quitting because of the lack of results, or it's just going to be same old for a really long time. So on the other side of the fence, of course, is if we're coachable and we are applying things and making progress, now we're excited about our progress, which leads to further motivation to pursue it even further, right? See how far we can take this and, find the gold nugget at the end of the rainbow. So that's really what being coachable comes down to. On a personal note, so those are kind of some of the bullet points I wanted to go over. On a personal note, the relationship that a coach or trainer can have with their athletes, for me, boils down to this: is someone coachable? The people that I've butted heads with over the years has nothing to do with what their athletic prowess is, what their capabilities are, how fast they run, how much they lift. It has nothing to do with any of that. What I butt heads with on athletes is this whole state of mind thing, is the negativity, is the pessimism. If they don't have that can-do attitude and they aren't being coachable, that is something that is really hard to fix during a workout session. So that's something that I think is a personal, like, self-reflection time where you've got to take a few bullet points and try to work on them and like slow down and work on paying more attention to the coach and working on those details. So it can, anyway, that's part of the reason why this process can maybe be frustrating for people, because we're having those types of battles. Instead of focusing our energy on improvement in a fitness capacity, we're having mental battles with who's coachable and who isn't. And so that's a big barrier to get over. So, which is partly why we're covering this topic right now in this podcast, is so that some of you can maybe, in hearing these things, do a little self-reflection and ask yourself, hey, is he talking about me? Am I negative? Have I ever given him an I can't because of blah, blah, blah type of response when I've asked you to do something? Or your coach in here, Rachel or Caleb or Amy or whoever, if they've asked you to do something and you've responded in your head with I can't, or well, or but, those types of comments, that means you're not being coachable in that moment. We're asking you to do things we think that are appropriate for you and we feel you can do, and we're modifying it for you as an individual. And there's a lot of thought that goes behind that programming in most instances. So we wouldn't really ask you to do something we don't think you can do. So that's it. Trying to be coachable. So take that in. See if you can come in with a can-do attitude, positivity, paying attention to the details, and see if that has any play on your next workout. So until next time, we'll see if we can stay a little more relevant and frequent with these podcasts. Again, I'm sorry for the delay. I've kind of missed doing them, to be honest with you. I'm sorry I don't have any company today. It feels a little empty here on my own, but that's all right. I guess that's it. We'll see you next time.